Vice President Kamala Harris is spending a second day campaigning in Detroit as she continues a tour of battleground states. The Democratic presidential nominee and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, were originally set to hold a rally in North Carolina today, but the event was postponed. Later today, she'll head out to Phoenix, Arizona, the next stop on the list. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is joining us now from Detroit this morning. Good morning, Nancy. So this is the third day of the Harris and Walz battleground state tour. Last night on America Decides, Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey described what it was like at the first event. Let's take a listen and we'll come back to you.
I've rarely, if ever, been at a rally for a national ticket that had that much energy. It kind of reminded me of 2008.
How much, Nancy, have these events been differing from city to city? And do you think the ticket will be able to maintain that initial enthusiasm when everything feels fresh and new right now?
The events, frankly, Lilia, are massive. 10,000 people, 14,000 people. You can tell that the campaign is still adjusting to how many people want to come to these events. In fact, it's taken us a couple of hours generally to get into the events, to get out of them and drive away afterwards, because this is not something that the Biden-Harris campaign was used to. President Biden tended to do smaller events, but they've been overwhelmed by the interest. They're going to have to adjust if this is the kind of crowd that the Harris-Walz ticket is going to attract. And of course, we'll see whether this is, just the initial excitement over a brand new ticket, or whether this is going to be something sustained along the lines of what we saw back in 2008 with Barack Obama and in 2016 with Donald Trump.
Well, Nancy, Harris and Walz were originally set to campaign in Raleigh, North Carolina today. What happened there? Why is it postponed?
Tropical Storm Debby happened, and there were concerns earlier in the week that the area would just be overwhelmed by rain and wind, and that they didn't need to add any extra stress, particularly to law enforcement, but also to put people who might have wanted to attend the event in danger. So they went ahead and canceled it. They have put a new event here in Detroit on the books, a smaller event today. They're going to a UAW hall this afternoon. The vice president, it was just endorsed by the head of the UAW last week. He spoke at their rally last night in Detroit. So they're going to go and press the flesh with some United Auto Workers representatives today, because union support is going to be very important to this ticket, particularly in a battleground state like this one, Michigan.
That's a big endorsement there. And Nancy, President Biden is also expected to stop by Harris HQ and meet with her campaign staff today. What else can you tell us about his role campaigning in the weeks ahead?
He has kept a pretty low profile, Lilia, since he dropped out of the race a couple of weeks ago. There is a clear understanding that it's Vice President Harris who needs to be in the spotlight right now, but he does want to go and thank a lot of those staffers. Many of them worked in the White House before they went over to the campaign. Some of them have worked for him for years, if not decades. And so he wants to go there in person, show his appreciation. But then beyond that, we're really not seeing as much of him as we had before. He is planning to speak at the Democratic National Convention in about a week and a half.
We'll be there. Nancy, thank you.